Hi and welcome to Outwell and to the Glendale 7E from our deluxe collection. This is a large tunnel design tent and it's aimed to sleep up to 7 people. We have the bedrooms towards the back of the tent, a large sealed living area in the middle and a good sized front porch room as well. With it being in our deluxe collection, what you'll find is that we're using our Outex 4000 material on here. So this is a good quality taffeta polyester that you would expect to last for a good long time. It's fully PU coated on the inside and all of the seams have been fully taped as well to ensure that it's completely waterproof with a hydrostatic head of 4000 millimeters. The frame that we use on here is actually a hybrid frame, so we actually have 2 different styles of pole on here. We have our Duratec fiberglass creating this front porch room here, and there's also another one at the back of the tent that we use over the bedrooms. Then for the main body of the tent, we're using steel poles here. So this is really solid and really stable, even in high wind conditions. In fact, we've tested this to withstand a force 9 on the Beaufort scale. So you can be safe in the knowledge that even in bad weather, the tent is going to stand up to it. What we also do is we colour code the sleeves to the poles to ensure that when you're pitching it, it should be nice and simple. So you can just see here, they have different colours for different poles on the sleeves here, as I say, making sure that you get the right pole in the right place when you're setting the tent up. Some other nice features then, we have large ventilation panels on the outside on both sides of the tent and across the bedrooms at the back. Just under here you'll see we have a mesh panel, so that's going to allow cool fresh air into the sealed area of your tent. What you can then do, if it gets a little bit too chilly though, is just pop outside and remove the ventilation like so. We use our wind stabilizer system on the tent, so I was mentioning earlier on that we have tested it to quite high winds, and this definitely helps with that. So here's how it works. When you set the tent up, what we do is we wrap these around the frame like this and hold them in place. So we have one at the top and one at the bottom of all the poles around the tent, and we have then our guy lines attached to these. When we pull the guy lines out and peg them into the ground, that's going to pull all the material of the tent against the frame, making it much more taut and therefore much more stable. We have lots of reflective points around the tent as well, so at night, if you have a head torch or a handheld torch, you're going to be able to see these nice and clearly. All of our guy lines are all luminous all the way around the tent as well, so hopefully you should see these a little bit easier when it's dark and you won't trip over them quite as much as you might do. Down here we have a guy line retainer, so when it comes to packing down the tent we can wrap the guy lines up and just pop them in here so that they're easily accessible the next time that we come to use the tent. Something else that we supply with the Glendale 7E is our easy pegging system. So this is where we give you 3 different styles of peg with the tent. We have these solid steel anchor pegs for the corners of the tent, and these would be pegged through the grey pegging points. We have the black plastic pegs for all of the black pegging points around the side of the tent, and we have the luminous peg for all of the luminous guy lines. So in the name there, the easy pegging system, making it easy for you to make sure that you get the right peg in the right place. So coming around the front, you'll just notice on the side and around the fronts here, we do have these mud valances. That's just going to encourage any rainwater to run down and away from the inside of the tent. When we get round to the front door, you see that it's a good sized front door on here, so quite wide and definitely very tall as well. I can walk in and out of here, no problem whatsoever. You don't have to sort of duck to get into the tent or anything like that. And with the door being a little bit wider, you're going to get all your kit in and out of here really easily. You'll also find that at the front of the tent here, we have a full mesh door, which is just rolled away at the moment. And what that allows for is great ventilation within the tent. A really nice feature here as well is both of these panels can be rolled back. We have some toggles just at the corners, so if you do want to sort of create an open fronted tent, almost like a sort of extension style at the front here, then that's really easy. We just need to unpeg here, roll these back, and they'll toggle into position. So you may have been wondering why the tent is called the Glendale 7E. Well, the E stands for the extended canopy system, and we'll just show you now how that works. Now the extended canopy system actually just involves this piece of material that's already attached to the door. And all we have to do is simply just unzip this down the sides, and we can change this position either to come straight down here just to give you a little bit more shade or shelter, or we can also have it going out the front as a double length extended canopy. So here you can see that what we have created is a good sheltered and private area. Now, with the use of 2 additional upright poles and 2 guy lines, we can now take this piece of material out, as I said earlier on, to create a double length extended canopy. In this area here, we do have a ground sheet for this area, which is obviously completely waterproof, so it's going to be nice and dry underfoot. It's exactly the same material as what we use at the back of the tent, and the only difference here is that this toggles into position. It's still bathtub in style as well, so as you can see here, it's actually shaped so that it comes up at the sides, just reducing the overall sort of draft that you're going to get in this area. But certainly at the front here is a really good spacious area, ideal for maybe storage or be able to sit out if you don't want to be in that sealed area behind us. So between this area and the sealed area of the tent, you have a large dividing wall. You can see here that there are large ventilation panels on this wall as well. We do have curtains on these as well, which are just rolled away at the moment. But what we can do is, if you want this door closed and a little bit more warmth, if you like, in this area, then you can just zip these up and close them over. With the dividing wall being on zips, you can choose exactly how you want it set up. So obviously you can open this completely and have one sort of large area if you want, or obviously you can have it halfway as we have here, or it can be fully closed over as well. So stepping back into the sealed area of the tent, one thing that should be quite apparent is just how much space there is in this tent. Again, head height wise, lots of it here. I'm quite tall, as I mentioned earlier on, at about 6'3". You can see above me here I have plenty of space, and there's lots and lots of floor space as well for tables and chairs and storage units and things like this. As I mentioned before, the ground sheet is exactly the same material as it is in the front of the tent. The only difference here is that it's fully sealed in this area. So all around us here, you can just see that it's coming up around the edges. If I just pull this carpet back, you just see what I mean by that. So it's coming along and then up at the edges here. So still totally waterproof, as you would expect. It has a minimum hydrostatic head of 10,000 mil. But with it being sealed and bathtub like that, you're not going to have any drafts. You're going to keep out things like, dirt, dust, sand, things like that. And more importantly, hopefully keep out those unwanted creepy crawlies as well. While I'm down here, I just want to highlight that we have a cable entry point just down here. So this is where we can bring electrics into the tent without having to have the door open here. So your cables can come in here, and then what you have is cable tidies that run all the way up to a lantern hanging point in the centre of the tent. So something that I haven't mentioned yet is the windows. They may be quite obvious, but they are plenty of them all the way around us here, so that's going to flood this area with light. If you want a little bit more privacy, or maybe not quite as much light coming into the tent, then you can see each window has its own curtain just that we have tucked away here. Now what we can do is just take these out and bring them either halfway up. There is a toggle point there for a little bit of privacy, or obviously they can be fully closed over as well. At the top of the window is where you'll see the mesh ventilation that we talked about earlier that corresponds to those outside panels as well. At the back of the tent is where the bedrooms are attached, and a great feature here is that these actually come pre-attached, so the first time you come to use the tent, these will actually already be in place. How we attach them to the fly sheet is using our wave-shaped hanging point system, which you can just see on here. Now that's not there just for style and design, it does have a function as well. It takes any of the stress off of the top seam of the bedrooms themselves, so really nice feature. Some other things to highlight then, we have some handy storage pockets on the outside of the bedrooms. You can then see in the centre bedroom, you've got this large ventilation panel, and that does run across all of the bedrooms at the back, and that corresponds to the outside panels. If we just have a look in here, you can see that we also separate the bedrooms with full zipped sheets, so about as much privacy as you're going to get within a tent. What you can do though is open these up to create one sort of large bedroom, or split them up individually as we have done here. Some other nice features then, down in the corner we have these handy storage pockets within the bedrooms too. Another great feature of the bedrooms is that we're using our universal inner, so that's where we have this zip between the bedrooms here, and that would enable you just to drop this bedroom down if you felt like you needed even more living space. And we'll just show you now how that works. So if you're concerned about ventilation within the tent, you need not be, 'cause as we've already highlighted down the sides, we have ventilation panels. The bedroom doors have mesh panels on them as well, so you're going to be nice and comfortable within here. And the side entrance here actually has a full mesh door as well, so you can just see that is separate here. So what we can do is roll up the outside waterproof door, but then zip down that full door of mesh just to allow for great ventilation, but again, hopefully keep out those unwanted bugs. So we have a few optional extras available for the tent that would include a fleece carpet for the area in here, which is a sealed area, just to give you a bit of comfort underfoot. There's also a footprint for the tent, which you would put down first and then pitch the tent on top of that, so that when you take the tent down, you're going to have a dry and clean ground sheet underneath. We also have a side extension available for this tent if you do want a little bit more sort of storage or outside living space. So that is all the features of our Glendale 7E from our deluxe collection. Thanks very much for watching.